Hey, hello, good evening, good evening, good evening. I'm looking at my um counter and I'm looking at what's just. We have a lot of bush watchers tonight. Hello, 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 hello. I'm glad you guys can join me this evening. I hope you all watched the Netflix program. It's called the program Cons, Cults, and Kidnapping. So I have Jay, who I'm going to bring up, who's the sister that took my survivor to Ivory Ridge, and I'm going to bring them up now. So, good evening, Big Bad Wolf, Michelle, Free, Sweet Potato, and let's bring them up. Hi, Jay, welcome.
Hi.
And hi, Kay, welcome. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So, I'm going to just move this around and I'm going to put myself down so I can put you guys up. Okay, there we go. We're good. Whew. So, let me ask you, Kay, when you watch that docu series, what did you think? Did it bring back bad memories for you?
Yeah, definitely. Because it was just very validating. Sometimes when you think back to certain things, you're like, am I crazy? Did this really happen? And then, watching that, you're like, yep, it definitely happened.
It definitely happened. So, in case you guys don't know, the Academy at Ivory Ridge is in New York. Okay. And this was supposed to be an institution for troubled teens. Okay. And it fell under the umbrella of the Worldwide Association of Specialty Programs. To me, no offense, it was human trafficking. I'm sorry. That's what it came down to me.
Yeah.
Um, the program was run by Robert Letchfield. Well, he started it. And after doing some research on Mr. Letchfield, whatever you want to call him, um, there are a lot of schools in Utah, and most of these teams wind up in Utah because there are such lax rules. The states don't really step in that easily, and there have been 3 schools in the last year that's had major incidents there. So it was more like, okay, I'm gonna say scared straight. Okay, I'm gonna say scared straight. But when I watched the documentary, I was floored. I watched part one, part two, and part three. I had to watch part three over because I got really upset watching it last night, and then I watched it again today. So Catherine is the person who did the docu series, and she did a lot of work. Oh my gosh, she did a lot of work. But when
Yeah.
you look at it and you see that they left all of this information there, all of these people's personal information that was there. So I'm going to ask you, Jay, you're one of the sisters that took Kay to the boarding school.
Yes.
And what I want to know is, in general terms, what were you told that, or what led your family, your mom and your dad, to make the decision to send her there, in their opinion?
So, Kayla's the youngest of 6,
Mm-hmm.
and she's quite a lot younger than the sibling that's just older than her.
Mm-hmm.
So she was raised by a lot of siblings, and we always would try to step in and parent her. And my parents were going through a really, really, really bad divorce. It was really bad. And my parents were pretty much not on speaking terms. And they would use Kayla, to go
Mm-hmm.
as the go between. And Kayla ended up dropping out of high school at age 16, right, Kayla? You were 16?
Yeah.
And my mom signed her out, and, the siblings all had a fit. And, you know,
But
my,
they didn't
my
know at the time that
we
she
didn't
signed
know
me
at this
out.
time that my mom signed her out. We just
Oh,
thought Kayla stopped going. And she, tried a night school program that didn't work out. She was rebellious, and it wasn't anything that like me and my siblings were, we did. And so my mom Google searched, you, troubled teen, and we all the siblings were like, she's got to get a high school diploma. Like, what is she gonna do? So when you Google search or Yahoo search, I think at the time it was,
Mhm.
um, troubled teen, the first thing that pops up and has ads all over the place is called Teen Help. So my mom called the Teen Help, and they had, somebody there, they're reading a script obviously, and they say, "Oh, we have this awesome school. Um, it's a therapeutic school." They marketed it to my parents as a therapeutic school. My parents had a lot of money at the time, and it was very expensive.
Mhm.
And
There were only
they-
two ways to get there. That's
yep,
why you took me, because of the other way in Massachusetts, it's illegal. You get there two ways. You either get there by family or you get there by transporters.
Transporter, and I
Yeah.
saw that. So
Yeah.
let me just okay. So you took her there. So the
yes,
night you took her there,
yep,
I'm taking it. It was night. The night you took her there, when you arrived,
yep.
um, who came out? How did you get her out of the car to inside of the building?
Honestly, we lied to her. We told her we were at a hotel,
And you said you were lost.
and we said we were lost. And she looks at me and my other sister, and she goes, "This does not look like a hotel." And I really didn't think she was going to go in. And so we were told, if she goes here, it's therapeutic, it's a great school, there's going to be horseback riding, she's going to get her high school diploma. So we were like, all right, let's sign her up. But we didn't think she would go, so we lied to her, and we told her we were going to take her shopping in New York. And
Ah,
Kayla had
okay.
fallen asleep on the way. So when we woke her up, and we were like, "We're here, we're at the hotel." And she was confused because she was woken up out of like she was dead asleep in the car.
Uh-huh.
And so she followed us in. And when we walked in, we had to bang on the doors. They were waiting for us. And
So you get to a hotel and you've got a bang on the door. Got you.
yep,
I'm
yep.
like, what is this? I was so confused.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jay. I'm sorry.
And so there was they look like big male security guards there,
Mhm.
and a woman, and they took her in right away into like a room, and they literally like kicked us out. Kayla was hysterical. I like I had like a pit, like something wasn't right, but at the
Mhm.
same time you feel like you're dropping her off to a place where she's going to get her high school diploma, she's going to get, therapy and stuff.
So it was sold to your family as a boarding school for troubled teens to help them complete their education.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you dropped her off and you left her there on your drive back, that's when you had this feeling in a pit of your stomach that something wasn't right.
Yeah.
They
But
had
but
them
but at
come
the same
back the
at
next
the
day,
same
though,
time,
right?
like you're trying to sell yourself that like you did the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're trying to tell yourself this was the right thing. And before we dropped her off, my husband, who's my fiance at the time,
Mm-hmm.
he says to me, "Geraldine, please," he says
Ah,
to me,
Jay.
"Jay, please do not do this. Do not bring her there," because she was like his little sister.
Mm-hmm.
And he begged me not to bring her, begged me.
So he
And
knew something wasn't right.
yeah, he just
Okay.
didn't understand. He just didn't get like why my parents would want to send their child there,
Okay.
like
So,
away.
oh, it's okay. When you got there and we saw uh people, this young girl was talking about how they came into her room and took her, and the family's just standing there not trying to help her. So when you were taken into a room, what happened then?
I was like, the first thing that came to my mind is what can I say to get me what can I say that they'd be like, okay, well, you can go home. Like you can't stay here. The first thought that came to my head is, say you're pregnant. So I started saying, I'm pregnant. I can't stay here. This isn't a place for me. I need to go home. I need to go back, blah, 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 blah. Um, and of course, they're like, oh, well, if you're pregnant, we can take care of that. Like, no problem at all. Like, which made me even more mad because I'm like, oh, like, I didn't expect that reaction. They were going along with whatever just to keep me there. They didn't care what I said. And they didn't tell me anything. And that was the most frustrated thing because I didn't know where I was. Keep in mind, my family thought it was a boarding school, but I didn't even know it was that.
Okay.
Nobody told me what it was. My sisters said, you're going to be staying here for a while. So at that point, they're like, Mom and Dad wanted us to bring you here. You're going to be here for a while. Because even they didn't know how long I would be there.
Okay.
But at that point, I didn't know it was a boarding school. I didn't know where I was right now. I was so confused.
So my question would be for you at the intake process, like we saw on the well, I don't know if everybody watched it. I hope you did. But the intake process, and they were saying that the girls were strip search in case they were trying to conceal anything, and you underwent a physical exam.
Oh, yes. Yep.
So
The guys weren't in there for that, but
yep. So
the woman was.
the lady that did your intake, she was the first woman that they showed, and that was Miss Amy. That's
Yep.
what you okay.
Oh, yes.
So Miss Amy did your intake, and then did she talk to you about anything while she was doing your intake? Did she explain to you, you know, anything at all?
She is a very dry. If I could explain her, this is how I would explain her. Is picture somebody who has no personality, who gets off at the fact that you're upset. So she was finding the whole thing amusing. And she didn't try to comfort me at all or nothing like that. She was basically like a drill sergeant who didn't care that I was upset. She didn't give a shit about anything. She's like, this is what's going to get done now, and this is what we're going to do, and I don't care what the hell you have to say about any of it. And I kept asking questions, and she wouldn't answer anything. She said, you'll find out at some point. And she is just a very cold person. And so, of course, with me as a kid, like, the more mad I would get, I'd get more sarcastic, and I wasn't trying to, comply with what they wanted me to comply with. But she's like, we could do this the easy way, or we could do it the hard way. Either way, you're going to do what I tell you to do. And your parent, and that's when she said that your parents signed their rights over to us. So we own you now.
So we saw Catherine in the documentary, and we saw Caroline, who you still talk to this day, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Were you there the same time that Catherine was there?
Caroline. Yeah,
No,
no.
no,
Catherine, no. So
Okay.
Catherine was there 2 years, a year and a half to 2 years before me. And the program was ran a lot different. So they kept, not a lot different, but they kept on like changing up how they ran the program and what they did. Like, they learned from this, so they did it that way, type of thing.
Okay.
And when she was there, we have so many of the same experiences, except a couple things were a little different. But no, I was there when Caroline was there. But Catherine, no, I never met her before.
Okay, so my question to you is going to be, we see the young man that was speaking in the documentary, he said that he suffered emotional and physical abuse.
Yeah.
Did you see a lot of abuse to the kids when you were there?
Yes, 100%. For example, I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Like I said, there was a list of rules. And
I
if
have
you
the
didn't,
rules. I have them.
you have the
Okay.
rules. So
Yeah, no tobacco. No, that's the rules when you go out with your parents. But let's see. Those are the rules when you go out on your first after you reach that point system, which we haven't gotten there yet, because those rules were ridiculous. So
yes, those were the point system were our
yes.
rules every day. Disrespect to staff. If we talked, it would be a disrespect to staff. So this wasn't a boarding school. It was a program, behavioral modification program, and it was designed for you to fail. But your parents didn't know that. They brainwashed them to think that you needed to complete the program in order to get out of there. It's and that's how it was designed. So they would give us corrections, which if we got a correction, we would lose points. You lose points, you're even further away from being able to complete the program.
So when did you find out about the point system? Because if you're not allowed to talk, and we saw that, and you and I have talked as well, you're not
Yeah.
allowed to talk. So when do you find out about all of these points and everything else? Is
So
it the
if
first week, the next day? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, so okay, so they try and have you jump into the whole thing right the morning, literally the next morning. So I got there at night. So after they did the strip search, after they gave me a change of clothes because I had nothing, they took all my stuff from me. They make you take off all your jewelry, piercings, everything, just like you were if you were in jail. They take everything and they handed me a mattress, but picture a mattress, but it was more like a pad, not a mattress.
Mm-hmm.
They put it in this long hallway, and you were on run watch. That's what they call it when you first get there because they
Mm-hmm.
think you're going to try and run. The place that I was at, as you can see in the documentary, if you watched
Yes.
it there's nothing but water and woods. So there's nowhere essentially to run unless you ran into town. In the town that we were in, Ogdensburg, they were told and warned that we were murderers, killers, that we are really bad juvenile delinquents. And if we ever were to approach them, to call 911. So even if we ran into town to try to run away, we would get caught. So there's nothing you can do. You can't leave. You can't go anywhere. You're shit out of luck.
So let me ask you, when did you talk? When was the first time that you spoke to your parents after you got there?
Through letter. So every Sunday we were allowed to write, and I think we got mail on Tuesdays and Fridays, I think is when we got to receive mail. And when I say that, they used a program that we would write on, which looked like email, but it was designed so you could only write the letters to your immediate family. You had no touch, like you weren't in touch with anyone on the outside. Um, and it would go through staff. They would read what you wrote and then they would send it. So everything was filtered through. But you asked, like, when was the first time I could actually talk to someone? So as soon as I woke up in the hallway, because they have night staff, so they hire people to sit in the hallways of the dorms that we slept in, and they would watch us all night. They would watch us sleeping all night. It was not pitch black. We had fluorescent lighting shining in our faces.
Well, that's what
So
they said in the documentary, that you were
yes.
really deprived of sleep and food. Is that true?
Yes. So basically when we slept with these big fluorescent lights shining down on us because they wanted to see what we were doing at all times to make sure that we weren't running or talking to each other. But they didn't have a room for me yet, so I had to sleep in the hallway right where all these they called them dorm parents. This was the night staff. So they got paid to literally stay up all night in the hallway and watch us. So when I woke up, I finally cried myself to sleep. And I woke up to all these girls coming. I hear they used to say something and I can't even remember what they used to say, but they used to say at nighttime they would say shut down, shut down. and that means you needed to go to bed. And then in the morning, they would say, wake up, wake up. So I heard people yelling. All of a sudden, I see all these kids coming out of rooms in uniforms, and they were lined up in a straight line, looking straight ahead. They couldn't look next to them. They couldn't look at the person behind them. And they were all staring at me because every time someone new came in, you know, they would try to see if they knew, like, oh, do I know them? And people, the kids that went here were from all over the world, not just the United States. So this wasn't just people locally that were sent here. Locally, I mean like in the surrounding states. These were kids from all over, from ages 11, no, from ages 10 to 18.
Oh my God. So let me ask you, Jay, when did you find out? I mean, so I put up a letter. Is that your writing or is that your dad's writing? Is that your writing?
No, that's my dad's.
Okay. All right. So, and he was in these seminars as well, right?
Yeah, I went with him to 2 of the seminars.
And what did you think about the seminars, Jay?
It was definitely different. There was I wish I could remember the guy's name who did our seminars, because he did both of them that me and my dad had gone to. My mom and one of my other sisters only went to the first one, and then me and my dad went to the second one because we were told if we went to these seminars that Kay would progress faster through the program and she would get to her level faster. So that's why my dad and I went to the second one. There were very few, it was filled. The rooms were filled with people, like stacked. And there was only like one or two people who would rebel against the guy that was doing these seminars. I wish I knew his name, because I can't for the life of me remember what his name was, because it was brainwashing. It was literally brainwashing. It was a way to humiliate the parents because they would make them do these ridiculous things. There were people who wouldn't show up the second day, and they took attendance every day, and they made sure like you stayed from the beginning to the end. It was like scare tactics, and you had to pay money to go to these seminars. I know somebody asked in the chat how much parents were paying.
Yes.
It varied. My parents paid, I think, a total of $70,000 for 13 months. Yeah.
And that doesn't count the money that they had to pay monthly for toiletries I didn't get.
Yep.
So they were, so there is, so there is the seminar packet for your dad, I guess. So so here's the thing but when did you realize, Jay, what kind of place this was?
When they kept on, when Kay wasn't progressing, and kind of seemed to stay at the same level. And then with the schooling, I'm an educator, and I teach middle school, and
bless your soul.
And
I know, right?
Just the stuff that she was saying about the academics, and then there was stuff coming out about how they weren't accredited. And so my mom started to question them, like about why hasn't she gotten her diploma yet? You said that in X amount of time she was going to get her diploma. Plus I was planning my wedding, and it was Christmas time, and I just didn't understand, why can't she come home for Christmas? That was like a big thing to us. Like, why can't she come home? And we were like lied and manipulated to, as far as I can't remember the reasoning why, but we were just lied and manipulated to and told like, oh, well, we do like this big thing here, and it would be better if she didn't come home because then she won't want to come back. Well, of course she wouldn't want to come back. We probably wouldn't have sent her back if she did come home for Christmas.
They had an answer for everything.
Yeah, they had a script. And then it came time where it was like a few months before my wedding. And I said to my parents, I'm like, she has to be at my wedding. Like, there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Plus, she was turning 18. So that was another thing. So they were also trying to convince my parents to send her to a nunnery and not go home, which.
So when you're 18, they give you an exit plan, and they try to tell your parents, well, if she's not going to complete the program, then we highly suggest an exit plan, and this is what we suggest. And they say, threaten her that you will give her a one-way ticket to a nunnery in Canada, and with nothing in your pockets, and that will force her to want to graduate the program. They wanted me to complete the program because that would be more money for them. So you were asking the first time that I had talked, every morning of every day, we had something called group. And like I said, the girls' side, because there was a boys' side and there was a girls' side, the girls were divided into what they called families. I was an integrity family.
That's what I was going to ask you, to expect, because they were showing it on the docu-series, what family. So someone is asking a question right now, Crazy Purple Kirby Lady. She says, is the Netflix show true or is it exaggerated about this place?
True.
It's true. If anything, it wasn't, if anything, it was unexaggerated. There were things they couldn't say. There were names they couldn't say for certain people. They did, like I said, this was their experiences. So you only got to hear what they experienced. I know of other people's experiences that experienced really like worse things, but you guys just didn't hear it because they weren't there to speak about it.
Some of them refused to participate because they just wanted to forget.
Yeah.
And, so I was reading a lot of stuff that went into doing the docu-series and the people that they reached out to. There was one person they really wanted on because she suffered a lot. And she was there when Catherine was there.
Yeah.
But she did not want to come on. She said she just wanted to forget about them. But then there are a lot of kids that were there that really have issues with what happened there. So when you left this place, did you go to any type of therapy? I'm just asking, did you go to therapy?
Yeah, along the way, I definitely did. We had this therapist that I would see over from time to time. And the only reason why I stopped seeing him was because my insurance changed. And even then, he would still see me like he would still make exceptions just because I saw him since I was little, and my family would see him too. And he helped me a lot, and he did give me a lot of tools. And, I don't know. There's still stuff that bothers me a lot, like I don't like sleeping out anywhere. I like being home. And I don't know. It's just, it's crazy that any of that happened.
So we see, so in the docu-series, they were saying that, that everybody had to take a drug test. Now, what really bothered me was this young woman, Alexa, who they said that, her drug test came back positive, and she was like, there's no way. And when she found her drug test to prove they lied to her, this young woman went and was saying that she went out and she was sucking peanuts for money to get crack, she was saying anything and everything she could to get out, just to get them. And then the names. So I want to ask you, everybody seemed to have a nickname, like the young woman who was led to believe or forced to say she was sorry for her father dying in an accident, and they called her a mistake. Did they give you a nickname?
Yeah, so during those seminars, they have a list of names that you would have to say the worst thing ever that happened to you. And if it wasn't good enough, they would force you to, no, I know there's something worse. And they would just like get in your face and scream at you. And until you were like, okay, I'm going to say the worst thing I can think of so that I can just get through this and it be over with. I don't remember. There were just so many words like that they would, you know, put you as, and that was that's what they, it's so hard to explain because the seminars were so warped that
So,
it's just crazy.
okay, so someone in the chat said, this is the place, this is the type of place that Paris Hilton went to. So Paris Hilton left a message for everyone that had gone to the school. And I do have that message. So let me play this for you guys really, really quick. And I hope you can hear it. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Hi, Air Survivors. It's Paris. I just wanted to leave you this message and just say that I'm so excited that the program is finally allowing the world to see WASP and the Academy at Ivy Ridge for what it truly was. I know how revealing it can feel to have the world see your trauma, but just want to leave this message and let you know that I'm thinking of you. Be easy on yourselves. You should be so proud. Just using your voice and making a difference for other children. And I just want to say that I am extremely proud of your bravery, and I know how hard it is to have to relive some of the most horrific experiences of our lives, and I hope that you're able to use this series to help heal and find validation in the pain that you went through. I hope that the people in your lives will start to see the truth of what you went through and had to endure. And I want you to know that you're not alone and that I see you, survivor. I can't wait to watch, and I'm sending you all so much love and support. Love you.
I thought that was so sweet. Did you hear that?
Yes. Yep. I know.
So let me just ask you, when your father and your mother, when they found out what type of place this was, well, when you got home, I know you stayed until you were 18. So I don't want to jump ahead. So you arrived there when you were 17. Correct?
Yes, I just turned 17.
Yeah, just turned 17. So what was the highest point that you get, point system did you get to?
I got to level 3, which is I think it was 1,000 points. You had to get to level 3. It took me 8 months to get to level 3. Now there are 6 levels in the program, so it took me 8 months to get to level 3. And
so the upper levels were 4 through 6, and that's
yes.
when you had to run at the place.
Yes, and so I tried getting level 4. They call it a vote up system. You have to literally vote. They have to vote and say if you're good enough to get level 4. That's how you get to level 4. So level 3, you automatically get it because you have the points to support that level. But level 4 through 6, every time you vote up to the next level, whatever upper levels at that time, they have to all, it's just like a jury. They all have to agree in order for someone to get guilty, or you don't get, or it doesn't happen, or innocent, or whatever. Same thing with this. Everybody has to agree in order for you to get that level. The staff, the upper levels, and I voted up to try to get that level probably about 3 times, and they denied me every time. But I found out after, the reason why they denied me was because they knew I was going home, and because I was 18.
Okay, so the thing is, but the program was designed to keep you there and to keep your parents paying money, right?
Yeah.
So when was the first time you had a family visit?
So that was at PC1. You had to complete 2 seminars in order to get to PC1. So I did Discovery and Focus. And then PC1, I was able to attend. And that's why my sister said that she went to those seminars she went to. If they didn't go to that, they wouldn't have been able to go to PC1. And that's how another tactic of keeping you there longer, because how hard is it to get everyone in the family to attend a freaking seminar that they have to pay for? Not many people.
Oh, so they had to pay for the seminar too?
Yeah, they had to pay for the seminars that they went to.
It was not included in the fee.
Yep.
Yes, you can.
Okay, so I just want to address in the comment, the person who had said, wow, parents didn't know how to deal with their child, so this was a solution. What an outsider would think that, but you have to understand these parents were lied to and manipulated. And families, we were lied to consistently. It was so scripted where you believed everything that they said. We were told that when Kayla got there, that she tested positive for like every single drug. So, and I believe that they sent fake like results to my parents too.
And that's what they did to Alexa as well. Now, were you told this by the parent reps, or was it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So every family in there, Integrity, Serenity, Faith, they all had a parent rep, and they were the doorway to your parents. So they would talk between me and my parents. They would relay everything. Now, when I got level 3, what you were allowed at that point was you could take your hair out of your braid. We were forced to wear our hair in braids every day. Our hair had to be pulled back in a braid. When you get level 3, you could take your hair out of the braid, but it had to be up in a ponytail. There were certain points that they had to stop having us wear braids because girls' hair were getting mold in it because we would have to, when we would shower, they would give us a 5-minute shower. So every day we would take a shower, but they would have it on a timer, the showers, and it would stop after 5 minutes. Girls were smelling really bad, so they upped it to 15 minutes because people were complaining that people were not able to wash themselves in 5 minutes. Our parents were paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars for toiletries that we were not getting. We were getting, do you know the shampoo and conditioner called Rain? Or White Rain?
Yes, I know
really
White Rain,
cheap.
yes.
That's what, or VO8 or you know, the really cheap ones?
The
That's what,
VO5.
Yes, Alberta
VO5.
VO5. Yes, got you.
They were giving us those, and they were like expired. And the toothpaste they gave us was this gel toothpaste that did not protect your teeth. So a lot of us had issues with our teeth after a year of being there, because we weren't having the proper care, dental care. I mean, imagine not brushing your teeth properly for a year. The food there came in the amounts of 50% or 100%. If you got 100%, that is a big plate of food. If you got 50%, it was like a, smaller plate. If whatever plate you got, if you did not eat every single thing off that plate, you didn't want to know what would come next because you were forced to eat it no matter what. No matter what it was that they cooked for you, you had to eat it. There was this one girl that she wouldn't eat at all. And so I saw some really crazy things happen to her. They literally strapped her down to the floor and were shoving food down her throat.
Oh my God.
She stopped. Yeah.
Oh
no, go ahead.
I'm sorry. This just I know that you and I talked about this a while back, and then when this was coming on, I was like, okay. So when I watched it, I felt so bad for these kids, and it brought back to mind. I remember I was telling you when you told me this a while back that when Nathan was cutting up in school, they wanted me to send him to, I'm thinking it's a program like this one now, because they would go to the school and observe him, and then they realized that that there was nothing wrong with him. So just think, if I would have sent my child to a school like that, I would be in jail. I would really be in jail.
Yep. Oh, yes.
Because